This has nothing to do with public safety and everything to do with punishing those who have dared to speak against government policies. We're sent here to protect the rights of Canadians, not take them away on the flimsiest of excuses or to punish those who embarrass the Prime Minister. There are many who will say good riddance to the protesters, and many who will cheer on their financial ruin. Clearly, while there are many supporting the protests, there are many other Canadians who are disgusted by them. Indeed, many Liberal supporters are cheering on the Prime Minister's strong-arm tactics against our fellow Canadians. They'll point to public opinion polls, showing that people agree with the government's decision to put the boots to those who are embarrassing them on the streets of Ottawa, to put the protesters back in their rightful place, and to serve as a warning to others that there are consequences for daring to question or push back against the government. I will remind this House that many of the darkest chapters in our history, many of the things we look back on in disbelief and shame upon, many of the suspensions of freedoms and liberties that past governments have brought down upon our own people were cheered on by the majority of Canadians and the majority of MPs and were justified in these halls. That doesn't mean they were right. It doesn't mean they were just. And indeed, I believe that if we allow this to stand, there will be a time when a future Prime Minister rises in his place and apologizes for the actions of the current Prime Minister in this case. The Prime Minister's made a purposeful political choice to create the division we see in this country today. This has been confirmed by the Liberal MP for Louis Hebert. Instead of seeking understanding and common ground, the Prime Minister sought political advantage through division. When his pollsters told him he could turn vaccinated Canadians against unvaccinated Canadians, friend against friend, neighbor against neighbor, and family member against family member, he jumped at the chance. He spent the entire election pitting Canadian against Canadian. He called those who disagreed with him racist misogynists who should not be tolerated. He called them a fringe minority with unacceptable views, as if being a Prime Minister or being a Liberal gave him a monopoly on what acceptable views are. He inflamed the situation in Ottawa with his rhetoric and then went into hiding. He continues to divide for partisan advantage. And now he wants this House to simply roll over and allow him to steamroll the rights of Canadians he disagrees with and use a tool he has no justification to use. The use of the Emergencies Act and its order in this case are unjustified. The thresholds have not been met. Its invocation will only serve to further deepen the divisions that have been purposely sown by this Prime Minister. Invoking the Emergencies Act will not resolve a national crisis. Indeed, it may create one. It's time to stop using the powers of government to punish those who have made difficult, unpopular decisions about their own health. It's time to stop going down the Prime Minister's path of division and instead choose the path of healing and reconciliation. And the first step on that path is the rejection of the use of the Emergencies Act against our fellow citizens. We must vote against this motion, and we must instead work together to lower the temperature, give Canadians back their rights, and work together to heal the divisions in our land. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.